The principal of the orphanage, the principal, headmistress, head nurse, and CEO is Dame Daphne Sheldrick. She founded the place, has been working with elephants for 50 years.
This is little Seguta. This is the one that was in a coma when she arrived. Was on a drip for 24 hours. We never thought she'd be alive in the morning. So she's our little miracle, this one.
Bob Simon in 60 Minutes introduced us to Dame Daphne Sheldrick and her remarkable elephant nursery in 2006 and again in 2009. Since then, Africa's elephants have become even more threatened. There are now about 500,000 left compared to 1.3 million 30 years ago.
So that means that Dame Daphne's orphanage outside Nairobi, Kenya, is still a very busy place. In her new memoir, it's called Love, Life, and Elephants, an African love story. And she's with us now in Studio 57. Hello, Dame Daphne.
Nice to meet you.
It's so appropriate to call this a love story because you really do clearly love these animals. You talk as a child about your mongoose, Rikki Tikki Tavi, and the impalas and cats. And you grow up and now you have this love affair with elephants because I think they're gorgeous creatures, but you love them so because?
Elephants are very human animals. And in fact, they're better than us.
Better
in
than us.
many ways. They can teach humans such a lot about being gentle and caring and nurturing, and they're highly intelligent and emotionally identical to us. And at any age, an elephant duplicates a human of the same age, and yet they're so much smarter. A little elephant of 2 years old is all together and knows the time.
Is all together. What do you mean?
Well,
fully grown?
It knows the routine. It knows how many bottles it should have.
Okay.
And if another one's having a bit more, they get a little bit jealous and everything. You see in the orphaned elephants all the same traits as you've seen in your own children. They really are human emotionally.
Why are they so threatened now, Dame?
It's the ivory, unfortunately. There's a huge demand for ivory, particularly in the Far East and particularly China. And a lot of the Chinese are now more opulent than they were before. And it's a status symbol in China to own an ivory seal. It comes from the largest and the strongest land mammal, and there's a symbolic attachment.
And what can be done to stop it?
Well, as long as there's a trade in ivory and a demand, there will be elephants being killed for their tusks. So obviously ivory has to be banned totally, and the countries that burn their ivory stockpiles should be rewarded for doing so, because up until now the International Convention for Trade in Endangered Species has sanctioned the sale of South African stockpiles. And as soon as there's a legal market, then what we've seen, and this has been proved, the illegal tusks are laundered into the system. Poaching goes up. And the time when there was a total ban on ivory in 1989, only for a couple of years, bearing in mind that it takes 2 years for an elephant to be born and only 9 months for a human, so that puts it in the right perspective. But you know, when ivory was banned, that the poaching was controlled, but for not long enough. You know, unfortunately, it's all greed and trade, isn't it? It's all about trade.
Yeah.
And how long do elephants who have a complete life live?
Same as a human, given a fair wind, and they suffer from stress, of course, and there's a lot of stress for the elephants these days. There's climate change, drought is becoming more frequent, burgeoning human populations taking up the space that elephants used to use, migratory routes and so on, and competition for land, and elephants travel huge distances to keep in touch with family and friends, and they communicate with infrasound. They don't need radios and things like we do.
And do you become attached to special ones, and they're almost like children for you?
When you take a little elephant that's just a few days old, and you know it, it's with you for at least 10 years.
Wow.
And then it gradually goes wild. And even when it's wild, it will always love and remember its human family. And if ever it's in trouble, it will come back to the humans that it loves. And some of our orphans now are having wild-born babies. And they bring the babies back to show the keepers that represented their human family and infancy. And encourage the men actually to go into the herd and handle the calf underneath the mother. And the last one that came back with her baby had 50 other elephants with her.
Daphne, as a kid, I was always told you have a memory like an elephant. Elephants never forget. Is that true, that they never forget anything?
It's absolutely true. One of our orphans that's now in her 50s remembered a man who was her keeper when she was 5. She just happened to come back and recognize this man. Nobody else knew who he was.
As Colin first said, the work you do is very, very important. As you see, it clearly is catching on and striking.
And the passion and the joy that it brings to you.
There's huge reward, but a lot of sorrow as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Great to have you. The book is called Love, Life, and Elephants. It's now on sale at your favorite bookstore.